Hello, my name is Ryan, and I am the author of an 18-year-old's guide to self-mastery, how to master your life from the inside out. And on this channel, I make a variety of content relating to really when it boils down to it, living an extraordinary life and what that really means, right? Finding joy, finding love, finding meaning, fulfillment, purpose. There's a dog barking in the background. And the reason for making today's video is I want to share a very simple tool and technique so that you can start to move in the direction that you really want to move in. A technique that's going to, let's say, dissolve 90% or more of any inner turmoil you may be experiencing and help you become a lot more clear, right? Because clarity is such a beautiful feeling. Many human beings exist in states of confusion, inner turmoil, not knowing what they really want, where they really should be going, feeling lost, right? And there's a very simple tool. It's built into you. It's built into your being that allows you to overcome that. I want you now to think of your dominant emotional experiences, right? Are you dominantly feeling happiness, sadness, joy or sorrow, pain or pleasure, right? Those aren't really as much of emotional states, but it's still valid to think about, right? And confidence or insecurity, that's another big one for people. Jealousy or assurance, right? These are all these different types of emotional states. And I want you to notice how they exist on a spectrum, right? Each one has their opposite. Fear, love, sadness, happiness, hopelessness, joy, right? They exist on this spectrum. And really what this spectrum does, what your emotions do, is they are trying to tell you, they're like energetic messengers, right? Emotion, quite literally meaning energy in motion. They're energetic messengers that are sending you signals, letting you know what your path really is, whether you are in or out of alignment with your true self. And I want to give you an example. When you're feeling sadness, right? Let's say you notice the feeling, you feel it inside yourself. Maybe it feels like tension in your chest, pain in your stomach, right? It usually manifests in the body in some way. Pain in your throat. You kind of, when you feel really sad, hearing sad news, your throat kind of does that closey thing, right? When you're feeling sadness, the way in which you dissipate that and start moving towards happiness is not by doing what many people do, which is ignoring the feeling. You're actually going to use it as a catalyst towards the feeling and the experience that you want, right? And this starts both inwardly in your emotions and your thoughts, but it also then has an effect outwardly, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So the next time you're feeling sadness, you want to become aware of its opposite. In fact, the next time you're having any negative internal experience, you're going to use it to gain clarity. Remember, we talked about how powerful clarity is. What a beautiful feeling that is, right? Especially if you've been in a state of confusion or feeling lost, how amazing that feeling of clarity is. You're going to use it as a catalyst to move in the direction that you really want to move in, right? So the next time you're feeling sadness, you notice it, maybe your throat's closing up and you say, what is the opposite of this, right? Because anything that's causing you sadness, fear, pain, really, pain versus joy, right? It's trying to alert you that you're out of alignment with your true self. This doesn't mean that all experiences of sadness or any negative emotion are invalid, right? If a loved one passes, right, that's a valid experience of sadness. But what it is trying to point out to you, especially in the more surface level things, right? If you're feeling sad because you didn't get the right parking spot, if you're feeling upset because it's a cloudy day, right? We're really touching on more of these kind of surface level ways in which people are suffering, really, and not experiencing the joy that is their birthright. And when you're feeling that sadness, what you're going to want to do is name it. Name it. Become aware of it. Notice the sadness and actually say to yourself, I even recommend people say this out loud first, but eventually you can just say it in your head, which is, this is sadness. This is sadness. Name it. Become aware of it. Bring it into the light of your consciousness. Name it, and then also maybe name where it is in your body. I'm feeling tension in my throat. This is sadness. Name it. Become aware of it. That step alone of naming the emotional experience, becoming aware of it, is 90% of the process, if not more of the process, of fully dissolving it and moving back towards joy, right? So naming the emotion, and then what happens is then you want to name the opposite, right? So if you're feeling sadness and you're feeling tension in your throat, ask yourself, what is the opposite experience of this? What is the other end of the spectrum? Well, that would be an open, expansive feeling in my throat or in my chest. That would be the feeling of joy, of aliveness, of a kind of rush of energy, right? And you just want to become aware of that, right? You're not fighting against the sadness. You named it, you noticed it, and now you're just becoming aware of its opposite. Now that is about 97% of the entire process of dissipating negative emotions in your life. And the reason for that, the reason that it's 99% of the process is because your natural state of being is joy and love, right? You do not have to create joy or love. Your emotional energy, your energy in motion state, naturally, when unimpeded, is joy and love. And the feelings that you call sadness, fear, depression, anxiety, these states of being, these states of consciousness, these states of emotional energy, these states that your heart goes through, are blockages in that natural flow of energy. And the way in which you release it, 90% of the way, right? 90% of the way or more, is just by becoming aware of it. Because what do so many people do when they start to feel that pain, right? The first couple things they do is, one, they try to distract themselves, right? So if you're feeling sadness, you don't want to feel the sadness, you go to eat food, you go to grab a drink, you go to do something, you go on social media, you start scrolling, right? That's what a lot of people do. The other thing too is then they start to form an identity around it. Oh no, I'm feeling this again. Why do I always feel this? I don't want to feel this. Why do I always feel this? And notice that sentence. Why do I always feel this? They create an identity around it. And what that does is it keeps them trapped in a cycle of sadness by fueling their attention on it, right? Because where attention goes, energy flows, right? So what you're doing is you want to acknowledge the emotional messenger. That's what all of your emotions are. Joy, love, sadness, and fear. They're all messengers telling you you're either in alignment with your true self, experiencing the joy, the love, the beauty of life, or you're out of alignment, which is not a bad thing, right? Because you would want to know if you're out of alignment, right? That's what fear really is. It's just a messenger. That's what sadness really is. It's just a messenger. It's telling you when it is you're not in alignment with your true self. And I think most people watching this want to be in alignment with their true selves. They want to feel the joy. They want to feel the love. So the fear and the sadness are actually necessary, right? They're just messengers. They're not meant to be states of being that you reside in, that you live in, right? They come up, they arise, they point something out to you, you learn from it, they're great teachers, and then you let them go. And you focus your awareness back on who it is you really are. So again, to highlight that process just one more time, if fear is arising within you, let's say you feel it in your chest, there's fear in your chest, there's worry, there's anxiety, there's fear. Notice it, say, okay, I'm feeling a tension in my chest. This is fear. You name it, right? Again, naming it just alone, not even naming the opposite, just naming it is 90% of the process. Once you name it, then become aware of the opposite. Okay, the opposite of this is love, right? Love in my heart, love in my chest. That's the opposite of this. And just become aware of love. Maybe gently close your eyes and say, what would it kind of be like if I was experiencing love right now? And maybe you gently close your eyes and a quick image comes. This is not a visualization practice, but just a quick image of you smiling. You're with friends or family. Maybe a face of someone you love emerges in your mind's eye. And then you become aware of love. And that sounds very simple, but I promise you that process of naming what it is you're feeling and then becoming aware of the opposite is 90, let's say 95. I've thrown a bunch of different percentages out there, right? 90, 97, right? Let's say 95% of the journey is just that, right? And there's another little step that I want to mention here too, though, which is don't do this process frantically, right? Which is if you're feeling fear, it's not, okay, this is fear and that's joy and that's love and I want to get there. Relax, right? That's probably the next important step. That's the other 5%, right? Which is the first step is to name it, become aware of it, name the opposite, but do it in a relaxed way, right? The drive that comes up when we feel fear is a a wanting to close down, right? There's a sense of wanting to contract and constrict and protect ourselves, right? And the first step is just to breathe. Relax the shoulders, relax the face, relax the body, become aware, and just breathe. And then you name it. This is fear that I'm feeling. This is fear. Maybe take another breath or two. Again, you're not rushing this process. It's a very quick process anyways, but you're not rushing it. What is the opposite of this fear? And as you breathe, it will already start to dissipate. Already, just upon breathing, just upon relaxing, right? Again, not relaxing. Even if it feels hard, because I'm not saying this is a very simple process. I'm not saying this is always easy, but it is simple. It is clear. It is concise. It's not always easy. If you're feeling pain in your chest, it's not always easy to want to drop the shoulders, relax, and breathe, and become aware of love, right? You want to rip that feeling out of you. It's so uncomfortable, right? But just relax. That's the way you move through it. And it becomes easier over time, right? And each time you do that throughout your day, each time you name the negative emotion that you're experiencing, and then you shift your awareness to what it is that you actually want, or what we could even say is you shift your awareness to your true self, right? The fear, the sadness, the anxiety is reminding you of what you are not, right? Not that it's not a valid experience. We're not saying that. But it's reminding you of what is out of alignment with your natural state of being. Your natural state of being is love and joy, right? So when you're feeling those, it's another emotional messenger saying, you're right in alignment. You're purely in alignment in mind, and in heart. So just become aware of that, right? Again, throughout your day, the more you do this, the more you practice this, noticing, okay, there's fear, there's insecurity, right? You're noticing these different sensations, and they're ever so slightly different, right? Sometimes fear is more felt in the stomach, sadness, insecurity in the throat, grief in the heart, right? You notice them in different parts of the body. They're slightly different, but really it's just negative energy. And that's what this really is. This is the transmutation of energy. This is going from the negative to the positive, which at the end of the day is really what everyone is seeking. And it's the foundation of an extraordinary life. And why do I say that? What do I mean by that when I say that this is the foundation of an extraordinary life? What I mean by that is your emotions are, in a sense, your life. Not all of your life. You have connections, you have relationships, you have material things and such. But if your dominant emotional states, your energy and motion states, are joy and love, your life is loving and joyful. If your dominant emotional states are depressed and anxious, your life is depressing and fearful, right? Just want to let that sink in for a second here. Because again, notice how that has nothing to do with the outside world. Right? I didn't say, are you rich? Are you in love with or do you have a partner? Right? I didn't say, do you have a family? I just said, are you joyful or are you depressed? Because that is really what defines and frames your life. Right? I'm not saying the external world doesn't matter. There's many, many things in the external world which provide value and that are huge parts of our lives, right? But if you don't have that foundation of understanding the absolute astonishing power of emotions, then you're always going to be left seeking and not finding what it is you're looking for. Because really, when it boils down to it, everything that everyone's seeking is love. It's love. It's joy. They want to feel happiness. They want to feel inspiration. They want to feel excited. And that's a good thing because that's their natural state of being calling them towards it, right? And when you understand that that is what you are truly seeking, then you don't have to be so worried every time you feel fear, you feel insecurity, you feel sadness, because they're only messengers telling you what you are not, right? That's a pretty good thing. In fact, you can actually start thanking your fears for being there. Wow, thank you for delivering me this message of what it is I am not. Right? And again, if you don't acknowledge that message, if you don't become aware of it and you try to suppress it and suppress it and suppress it, it's going to come back stronger and louder because it's not meant to stay in your life. Love is your natural state, right? And the fear doesn't even want to stay in your life. The sadness doesn't want to stay in your life. The love does. right? So the fear is going to get louder and louder until you notice the message that it's trying to give you, that it's pointing out to you about what's out of alignment with your true self, and you listen to it, and then you become aware again of love. And you let it pass through you by relaxing, by breathing. So that's how it works in the internal world, right? Which is what you really care about. Again, what you really, really want deep down is to feel love and joy. And not just a little bit of love and joy, a lot of love and joy. You want to feel boundless love, boundless joy. You want to feel excited, enthused, and so on and so forth. But this also works in the external world, right? Your inner world and your outer world are linked. They're inextricably linked. Your emotions affect every arena of your life. And the same thing goes for outer circumstances, right? If you're struggling financially, that is again a messenger pointing out to you what you are not, because you are abundant in nature, right? So there's lack and there's abundance. Everything exists on these scales, right? So when you become aware of lack in your life, you can then start to shift your attention on abundance, right? Or let's say with connection, if you notice a lack of connection in your life, right? Whether it's relationships with other people and stuff, you say, oh, I'm becoming aware of something, which you could say, which I am not, right? Because you are connection, you are love, you are joy, you are abundance, right? These are the energies of who you really are. And we can talk more about that in a later video about who it is you truly are. But I just want you to kind of start to entertain some of these ideas in a very grounded and applicable way, right? And so you can start to become aware of things even in your outer world that you are not, right? And start to shift your attention to what it is you are, right? So many people say things like, I have depression or I am anxious, right? They form a label and an identity around it. What I would really say is that anxiety has you, depression has you. You are not depressed and you are not anxious. Because you're the one noticing those things. You're separate from those things, right? What you really are is love and joy. You are love and joy at your core. And when you become aware of fear, anxiety, all these things, you say, oh, fear has a hold on me. Fear has a grip on me right now, but that's okay because it's just trying to tell me something, right? It's a messenger. It's grabbing onto you, trying to tell you where you're out of alignment with your true self. And that's very valuable, right? We need that contrast. We need those learning experiences, right? If a hero in a movie never went through a challenge, there'd be no growth, right? So thank the fear, welcome the fear, welcome some of the negativity, but just don't let it stay because it doesn't need to. Your life is supposed to be beautiful. Your life is supposed to be filled with love and filled with joy and filled with excitement and inspiration and enthusiasm. I could go on and on with the adjectives of those high energy states, right? So again, it's not invalidating the challenges. The challenges are what allow you to grow. They're what allow you to discover something new, to overcome. And that's the beauty of it, right? There's actually, we could even say that there's a state of being which is beyond these scales, right? Which is beyond the challenges and the happiness, right? Beyond sadness and happiness lies joy and love, right? Which are still more towards this side, but that even through challenges, there's joy and love, but maybe you're just not aware of it. And that's the state of being that I want you to reach, where no longer in your life are you pushing away the challenges and the negativity. We can even say, no longer are you afraid of being afraid, right? You welcome the fear because you then use it you start to alchemize the fear and use it as a catalyst to go back to joy and back to love, back into your natural state of being and expand on it, right? Now, what could be a more extraordinary life than that? Which is your life is now dominated by joy and love. And when challenges arise, you handle them from a grounded, wise, and beautiful state of being. That's a wonderful, wonderful life right there, right? You don't turn away from challenges. You assist yourself through them by using the fear as a catalyst towards love. And again, it sounds painfully simple. I'm going to say it one more time. The whole process is becoming aware first of the negativity, relaxing, and then becoming aware of its opposite. And then just fuel the opposite, right? When you become aware of the opposite, again, you might get an image of someone that you love, of yourself smiling in a situation that brings about happiness, right? If you're feeling insecurity and then you relax, you let go of that and you become aware of confidence and you say, and you kind of feel it, you see it, and you say, oh yes, that's confidence. Look at that. I'm smiling. I'm standing more upright, right? And you start to fuel that. Then throughout, as you go about your day, gently, you kind of guide your thoughts, guide your feelings, and you become more and more aware of confidence, right? Again, you're not creating confidence. You are confidence. You are joy. You are love. You are all of these beautiful energies, right? And the negative ones are not bad. They're just pointing out to you what you're not, right? So they're very valuable in that way. You can thank them in that way. And that's really all your work is to use the negativity as a catalyst, as the messenger that it is, because they're just messengers, to move back into joy and love, to move back into excitement, into enthusiasm about your life, right? And then to just fuel and expand upon those states. That's your work every single day, right? You have a job, a career you might go to, you might be a student, but that's really your work when it comes down to it, which is how can I fuel more and more love in my life every single day? How can I transform these challenges into love and joy, right? That's really your work every single day. And if you do that every single day through the process that I gave you, and there's other processes and practices and stuff, but you can start with that one. Through the one that I gave you, I might touch on some others on my channel, right? To help you find more joy and more love, right? But by using that process, by using that practice, you can become aware of more and more love and joy and just continue to expand that love and joy in your life. What could be a more beautiful life than that, right? And this is the thing too, is when you start to expand that joy and love in your life and you start to allow them to really flow through in that way, everything in your life becomes wonderful. Your life becomes a magical adventure. Really, when it boils down to it, your life becomes a love story, right? That's something I'll touch on in another video, but each human being is like this thread in the greater tapestry, each soul even, right? Now we're touching on multi-dimensional levels of your being, right? But each being is a thread on the greater tapestry of the universe. And what is the universe? The universe is a never-ending love story, right? A never-ending love story with all types of exciting challenges and ways to grow. And then if you decide to, you can use those to catapult yourself into more love and more joy, right? Because what you will find is as you move into that love and joy is that it's boundless. That actually, there is no end to that love and joy. There's always more of it. That's one of the most shocking things about this path, right? Is it doesn't matter what your belief systems are, because this isn't a belief. This is an experiential truth, right? Which is, as you become more aware and you fuel and you grow the love and joy that you are, you allow it to flow through, right? By relaxing and becoming aware of what's opposite to the negative energy, and you fuel the positive energy, you actually find that it's boundless in nature. That it keeps expanding, it keeps uplifting you. Every time you thought you've reached the pinnacle of love, there's more, right? The pinnacle of love and joy, right? And that's what I want for you if you're watching this, which you are if you're hearing me say these words, right? I want that love and joy for you, right? I want you to experience and live a happy and fulfilled life, and it starts with that, right? So that's the process that I've given you this video. There will be more. I'm going to dive into more of these topics, specifically when it comes to the external world. You know, there's a lot of new terms like manifestation, and there's all these types of other ideas that come with living an extraordinary life, and I'm going to be touching on all of those. But that is the first video. I urge you to contemplate these ideas, to put them into practice, because it's really quite simple, right? This is something that you can start today. If you would like to move towards love and joy, you don't have to wait till next week or next month. You can start today. You can start right now to move into that state of being. And I so want that for you, right? So make sure you like this video, subscribe, share it with someone who might need to hear some of these words, right? You can listen to this, share it with someone. I feel like this is a good type of video to listen to on a walk, on a drive, right? Replay this video if you need a refresher on some of the ideas. Not all the ideas are mine. A lot of them are my interpretations of teachings that I've heard, right? But wisdom really knows no one teacher, right? It's something that these types of truths, they spread through many teachers and all individuals, right? So I urge you to share this with someone who might need it. Save this video, rewatch it, and make sure you subscribe, because there's going to be many more videos like this touching on how to find more love, more joy, how to overcome negativity, negative states, how to find health, happiness, abundance, right? And just live an extraordinary life, right? Who doesn't want that? Everyone wants to live an extraordinary adventurous love story, quality of life, right? And I want that for you too. That's why I have this channel, right? So thank you for watching, and have a wonderful